Meet my mom. She's mother extraordinaire. She can bake anything, she can cook anything, and she's great at it. She's also an author. She published her second book this year, My Endearing Appalachia, Memoirs of Southern West Virginia Coalfield Life. She and Dad grew up in McDowell County, West Virginia, or as we call it, McDowell County. That's where they met, that's where they lived right after they married, and that's where their roots are. It's also where Mom first learned to cook. If you know anything about the coal fields, you know it's some good eating there. I wanted to showcase her, so this video is her doing her magic in her kitchen. So now I present to you Felina in the kitchen.
Okay, I'm measuring my ingredients first for the buttercream filling.
Hey everyone, we got a special guest today on Rob and Teresa in Appalachia.
Oh yes,
This is my mountain mama.
Oh yeah.
So what are you going to be making, Mom?
I am making a Yule log chocolate cake, and it's delicious. And I'm beginning to make the filling first, though. It's recommended go ahead and make your filling and have it done. And I'm using buttercream to fill in the log, but as we go along, I can tell you how to complete the making of it. It's been a while since I've made one, but.
And what's the occasion?
This is for our son's birthday. And so we're trusting that Mama will do an okay job. It's been years, but I wanted to try one again. They're really good, and
she'll do great.
They're worth spending time with. And what did you say?
I said she will do great.
Yeah. So anyway, so I have already emptied 1 cup of powdered sugar into the bowl for the frosting. And I've got to do 2/3 more of a cup. And so once I do that, then I go to the next ingredient. The recipe requires 1/2 cup, and it says unsalted butter at room temperature. But I just always use butter with salt. There may be something you're making and you can't put additional salt to it. That's fine. But I always buy salted butter. And then the next ingredients are for a specific flavor for the filling. And that would be 2 tablespoons of coffee flavored liqueur, it says. And so if you have a little bit of coffee you want to add, and then 1.5 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder and a pinch of salt. Those 3 ingredients can be added too. I will put a pinch of salt because it does help in flavoring, but I'll leave the coffee flavored liqueur and the unsweetened cocoa powder for whatever your choice would be. But for this cake, I wanted to make a white filling rather than go chocolate with that too. So I've got my powdered sugar in here. I have the 1/2 cup of salted butter, and you know, if you forgot and didn't set the butter out soon enough, like I didn't do, you can just warm it a little bit in the microwave so that it's workable. You just need it to be workable and to mix it in on your cake. I've got to do that. I've got to add the butter to that. And then there's a little pinch of salt, and that's all I'm to use for that. I'm going to add the butter into the powdered sugar, and I may have to get another mixer out Teresa, before I'm through. I'm putting in 2 half sticks. I bought half stick butter because that was all available right then. So I just went ahead and bought the half stick, and it works fine. The math is easy to do. So now this, you know, this might fly everywhere. I don't know. Sometimes powdered sugar does, but you have to get it under control. And I am going to also add about 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla flavoring to my pure vanilla flavoring to the icing too. That does improve the taste of it. Half teaspoon. I'm just wondering if I ought to put this in that deep bowl to stir it, because this is not very deep. If I go to see, it's going to fly out everywhere. So maybe I should put it in this. I'll put it in this deep bowl. Once it's mixed up, if I decide to change containers, I can do that. I won't need as large a bowl once it's mixed really well. I got the milk out, and I'm adding, this looks like, yeah, this is a small measuring cup, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of milk into the icing mix, because the recipe notes that you use a liquid there. It's coffee liqueur. I'm not using that, but I will use milk, because I have done that before and made real good buttercream frosting with it. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons into a very small measuring cup. Scrape the edges of the bowl or inside in the middle so that we can bring that all together, and that's what I've done. I have put in I've left just a little bit in there till I scrape this around into the center, and that was sufficient. There's just a small amount of milk left here, and so I'm not going to use the rest of that since it doesn't appear to need it. This is a filling that goes into the cake, and it will since it's made with real butter does solidify in a recipe, so that makes it good. Now, I'm looking at this, and it does look a little bit thin, not much, but I feel like I want to put a little bit more powdered sugar in here, and it's okay to adjust recipes like that. This has no bearing on the raising of the dough or anything else. It's just I want to be sure that that sets up when the cake is made. And So,
remember, that is right in the microphone, so don't talk while you're stirring.
do what? What is it?
Try not to talk while you're stirring, because the microphone is right over that. It's going to hear that.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I see. Anyway, I could never be a star.
No, this is trial and error. Ask me how I've learned.
Yeah, I know, honey. I know. Yeah. So I got this made. Evidently, that will thicken. So there's some things when you're working with cooking and making recipes, there's some things that can handle a little bit of a change or something. But over time, you learn that, and it's okay, to follow your own thoughts about dishes you make or pies and cakes you make. You make it homemade, doesn't matter. It's good. Homemade is always good. So there's the filling for the cake. Now, on to make the cake. This recipe begins with 2 tablespoons of melted butter, 1/2 cup unsweetened cocoa powder, 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, 5 large eggs at room temperature, 2/3 cup of white sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar, or as needed. I believe this recipe is referring to the fact that when you take the cake out of the oven, it's going to have to be put on a flat surface, and you will want to sprinkle powdered sugar so that the cake doesn't stick to another surface. So that's the reason for that, so that you have your powdered sugar at hand. 2 tablespoons of melted butter. I'll put this in the microwave to melt it. The good thing about our butter we buy is that it's always measured for us. And that helps immensely. So,
a note that Mom has taught me on baking: always use real butter and always use genuine vanilla, because the other stuff, imitation vanilla, it's a food violation. It's a vulgar representation of the authentic.
Yeah, it really is. It just, pure vanilla just really gives a heightened goodness, a heightened goodness to foods that you eat. At the bottom of the recipe, the preparation for the pan to bake your cake in, it's noted that you brush a little melted butter over the sheet pan, and then line the pan with parchment paper, and then brush remaining melted butter on top. Perhaps I should go ahead and prepare the pan. I believe I'll do that. I'll prepare the pan. I've got to put the butter on the baking sheet, brushing just a little butter. Get a towel, and I'll use that to brush a little butter on the parchment paper. Supposed to put a little bit of butter, melted butter, on the pan, and then I pulled off a section of the paper towel to rub the butter in the baking pan, and I'll be putting the parchment paper over this, and then I'm to use, according to the recipe, to use the rest of the melted butter on top of the parchment paper. Now, the next step I'm to go with will be the cake. 1/2 cup of cocoa powder, 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 1/2 teaspoon kosher salt, 5 large eggs at room temperature, 2/3 cup of white sugar, 1/2 teaspoon vanilla, and at the end of the recipe, 2 tablespoons powdered sugar, or as needed. As I said before, that's to prevent the cake from sticking to a surface, basically, and you just brush the surface slightly with that. So, half a cup of unsweetened cocoa, half cup. All right, 1/2 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, I just use pretty much a level tablespoon. I don't do a heaping tablespoon. Half teaspoon of salt. There's half teaspoon. Two-thirds cup of white sugar. And then 5 eggs that I have left sitting in a bowl to become room temperature. Yeah, I was going to say it's getting close. See there, it was wanting me to arrive at that color. Now next is I put the vanilla in, half teaspoon, and then it said half of this, but I want to see why it said half. It said half of the sugar and cocoa mix, sugar, flour, and cocoa mix. We're going to put this in with the egg mix, so I need to check on the timing. And I'm putting in half of the cocoa flour and salt mix. The recipe has noted that you, in the completing of the cake mix to bake, that the last portion of the cocoa mix will go in. It says don't over mix, so that's one thing you don't want to do. And then it'll be ready for the baking pan. I'm going to take this loose. And I think this is ready to go on a prepared pan. I gotta set the oven to 400 degrees. Let's see. I'm gonna pray it stays together. Oh, oops, Teresa. Let's see. I'm trying to. It's really fixed nicely there that it so that it holds. I wanna flip it over and want it to remain in one piece without putting that underneath it. That's how I want to do.
Can you put another sheet pan on top, like over top?
I don't have one this size. Another one this size.
Oh.
Wow. That got it, didn't it?
That was easy.
Yeah, that was easy. Now I've got to roll this up, and it's got to cool. It's got to cool in this position so that I can unroll it again. So the idea is, that this helps to make it into a roll. So once that's cooled down enough, I'll unroll it. I'll put that filling in, the buttercream in the middle, and then I will roll it over. And I have a recipe for ganache that I've got to use. I have dark chocolate Ghirardelli chocolate chips. They're dark chocolate. And then I've got heavy cream, and it takes heavy cream that's brought to a boil, and you just pour the heavy cream over the dark chocolate chips. And you can sit down and eat them all if you want to, or you can wait and use it in a cake. But yeah, I can show you. I can show you the bag of chocolate chips if you want to see it. Is this not a pretty package? This is Ghirardelli Premium Baking, 72% cacao, dark chocolate chips. I will be putting those into a bowl that I have poured boiling heavy cream in. That's how I'll do it. And it will be good. These would be good to eat like that because, dark chocolate. What I will have to do after that's cooled, gotta wait till the cake cools, and I'll bring out the chocolate chips. And the instructions in the cake are to use real hot, heavy whipping cream. Here is the filling. It looks real good. It's a buttercream filling. And so buttercream in there, it will, in the refrigerator, that buttercream will harden some. And then you can bring out that cake roll and pour your ganache over to create a pretty log. It said to do a cup of this heavy whipping cream. And did it say the whole bag of chips? That said just a few minutes, didn't it, to cool this?
I think like 15 minutes.
I'm going to go ahead and put this frosting in it, and I'm going to go ahead and cool it in the fridge. That's what I'll do. And then, like I said, I don't see it taking 2 hours. They probably want you to take 2 hours to let the butter harden up the filling, but you can always put it back in the refrigerator. So I will do this. I will unroll this cake, keep it all together. It's a good idea if you like to cook, just as a suggestion. I think it's good to keep 2 or 3 of your cloths for drying dishes and everything. Put 2 or 3 of them back and only bring them out for occasions like this. Don't use them every day. And then when you get ready to do a cake, you'll have you a real good surface for it. So I'm going to unroll that. And then I'm going to have to re-roll it after I put the filling in it. Bring that out there. Want a sample?
No, thank you.
Give it to Brittany. Bet she'll like it. That's just a little fluff.
Brittany's in here
Look,
watching too. She's
there's another piece. It's almost like
making sure Mama's doing everything correctly.
that's what kids always stood around in the kitchen for, you know.
That's how I learned to cook.
Get a sample of what's cooking, right?
Oh, the sample. I thought you meant to learn.
Yeah, well, that too. You learned that too. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I believe the instructions are to roll this up in a plastic sheet. I'm going to ice this inside, and then I'm going to get me out a large sheet of this. I think there's still a large sheet in there. I hope. So I don't use a lot of plastic wrap for some reason. But anyway, so this will be icing the cake inside. It's going to be a log, of course. And it did say to reserve a little bit for some reason, you know. But this will be inside of the cake. The Yule log cake. It's called the Yule log. When I make the ganache, I've never worked with chocolate chips and heavy cream for making ganache. I've never done that before, but I have worked in making a log cake before years ago, but I didn't use any. I didn't use any of the chocolate chips, and I never made ganache. But I made a chocolate topping that I followed some recipe, and I don't know where that is. But I followed a recipe, and come over here and get a whiff of this. You can smell this chocolate just standing here. I can. I don't know if you can or not.
Yes. So
anyway, I made that recipe, and it turned out so cute, and I just loved it. It took a long time, but I did really like that recipe, and it was a beautiful display. And I actually, I was supposed to cut 2 edges off of here. I got to do that. I can do it after I roll it up, I guess. But I even crafted marshmallows from egg whites and baked them and arranged them around it. So this is the filling, and you can see by looking at this that it's going to set up, and you can slice the cake when it's ready, and it'll slice through this. That's what's going to happen. See, so I just want to cover the whole area. But I got to leave a little room for rolling it up. I guess I could wait. Now, when I made my first log roll, I cut off the edge right then, or did I? I think I rolled it up and then cut it off after it was rolled. Cut one here, so I think that's the way I did that. Now, am I getting your background and your stuff? Is it getting really messy?
Well, you're cooking.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, so now I've got to roll this up again. And I'm going to need to get a piece of paper, plastic. Can you pull me off a piece of plastic? See, that's cracking as I go along here, which that's okay, but anyway.
That's probably why they said cool it only 15 minutes, because any more would have made it more difficult to roll.
Yeah, might have been slightly overbaked too, you know, maybe. Now, I'll tell you what, rub that in the towel to pick up the sugar on it, and then we'll And then we'll roll this.
Well, now I made some kind of mess.
It'll be all right. Let's see, but I really need to trim the edge. I need a couple of real slender pieces to create a knot for the log. That's what I need to do. Let me see. Where is that? That little bitty. What did I do with that little bit? Here's the little bitty knife. I'll take this and I'll cut this like this. Don't want it too thick, but I'll take that. I don't know if I want to take a second one or not. I guess I might as well make it look even, but it's going to be covered in ganache too. But there it is, and what I'm going to do is fashion. That could have cooked less time because it's a little bit dry, but I'll take these and dampen them a little bit and create a little round circular thing and make a knot for the log. I'll make 2 knots for the log. That's what I did with my original creation with a Yule log cake. All right, everything's clean over here, so I'm not worried about laying things around. Everything is devoted, after cleaning up, everything is devoted to only the cake day. Let's see now. Let's see. Yeah, that could have cooked a little less, baked a little less, but I'll pull it together with the plastic wrap. I think that'll help it. Tim doesn't know I'm doing this.
Well, good.
I don't think I told him I was going to make him a cake. I was just kind of out in the air about that, wasn't sure. But I wanted to try it again because I'm getting tired of not baking some, some specialties. I think maybe this is helping that some. And we'll put it in the fridge and it will harden. And that frosting is pushing through. I don't want it to push through. I can push it back down there. It's in the... No, we're not going to Walmart. Is that what you were talking about? No, are you talking about Timmy? You talking about Timmy? You see what I'm doing? I'm trying to rake that so that inside frosting goes back in there. And now that goes in the fridge, and I'm kind of just sculpting it a little bit. It won't take it a long time, but it says 2 hours. Now let's see. Yeah, this is where the section is that started from rolling. Later, and after that, you put it back in the refrigerator and let it. The directions are to pour the boiling hot heavy cream over the dark chocolate chips. And this is to go on a parchment lined pan. The Yule log has been refrigerated for several hours now, and I think it was noted that you can put powdered sugar right there on the sheet. That cream is going to get real hot. In fact, it's listed in the recipe boiling hot, but that means you got to watch it real closely if you do. Put a little confection of sugar here, keep it from sticking. And I think this is ready. I think this is boiling hot, I believe. I pour this in there and let that set a couple minutes and then stir it up and then put it over there. I have the pieces of the, here it is. I don't know if I can sculpt them. I wanted to sculpt this into the knots to make the knots for the cake. But I don't know if I can do that now. It doesn't feel like I can sculpt them into knots. I don't know of anything to use to make it that way, unless I use maybe I better let it go ahead and stay a little bit longer on the heat, because there was just a little bit of the filling left, and if I can make it work, I might be able to make those logs stick together. Got to pour this over the chocolate chips and let it set. And then the log roll. When we cut into it, we'll know if it's all good inside. The chocolate chips in the scalding hot or boiling hot heavy cream, it's got to set for about a minute, and then after about a minute, then you can begin to stir and create your ganache. It's real pretty. It smells good too. Woo! Smells chocolate. Smell the chocolate. Now I've got to spread this all over. Now it will set, and that's good. That doesn't look, it doesn't look real smooth. For some reason, it's not lumpy, but it doesn't look real smooth. It said to whisk that, so I did whisk it. I've had to watch this recipe as I've been making it, because it's new, sort of new to me. I've made these before. I should be able to take this off of the paper after it cools. Now, it's supposed to sit in the refrigerator for a short time. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. I believe it sits for 15 minutes. And so that it sits. Yeah, I've got some of the ganache in here. And yeah, I think I'll be able to make a knot on a log. There are so many different recipes for this log cake. People use different methods and different fillings and different decorations and everything. So it's there are just a lot of varieties of it, and that's what's amazing. And they can turn out beautifully if you have the items to work with. Now I'm going to put some of that ganache over here to see if it'll stay. I've done what I'm supposed to do. So now this is supposed to stay in the refrigerator 15 minutes. Let's see if this will fit in here. I hope so. Now, I have let the cake with the ganache sit in the refrigerator, and 15 minutes was the time frame for putting that in there. And after 15 minutes, this ganache is set enough to where we can go through it, the layer of it. It's a whole layer of it. And you can rake through that with a fork, or if you have another way that's better, you can create lines in it to give it the appearance of a log. And you can just keep doing that. And it'll look like a log when you get through. And then if you want to put added decorations on it, you can, like mushrooms or some kind of berries. But this creates the log appearance going through the top of it. So there you have it. That is a Yule log cake. I've got a rugged log cake here to be enjoyed. Made it all specifically according to recipe. And this log happens to have a couple of knots on it. So that's just a little extra for appearance. So here is the log cake. I think I've got the appearance all the way across. Yeah. That does it for this time of making the Yule log cake. This can be good anytime. Doesn't have to be Christmas. So that's what we're doing. This is a birthday deal. So anyway, I hope you enjoy.
It's a pause and a stop.
I see an equal sign at the top and a square at the bottom.
Okay, it's on. It is recording.
Okay, go ahead and start.
Well,
it.
You have
no,
the receiver
I don't have anything to do yet.
Oh, that's the other thing. I couldn't find the receiver. It goes inside of the phone.
That is being charged over behind the TV.
Oh,
And I don't have this ready, honey. Teresa, you know how old we are.
Well, just turn it off. Allie knows what to do. Just turn it off. So go ahead and put the receiver in the phone and have the microphone ready to put on your lapel.
Okay, have the
Here, put your microphone on.
I've got to make this ganache. It won't take long because all I've got to do is boil some of the
No, we
cream.
got a red light and a green light
Yeah.
flashing there, or a red light.
Yeah, because it's not.
Put that
So
on.
put the receiver in the phone, and then when you turn the microphone on, it should be all green.
Did you hear that? She said when microphone on, it should be
Okay, it's
all green.
now.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Is
It's
it?
connected.
Is it? It's not recording me, is
Yeah,
it?
you're recording now.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah.
Oh well.
But I'll take anything out. I mean, don't worry about whatever you're saying now, because I'll just take it out.
Okay. Well,
Well,
and
the equal sign and the stop sign do what? I mean, the square sign do what?
The equal sign is pause. The square sign is stop. Just like on a VCR. Remember on the VCR?
Okay, if I hit pause, now will it come back on?
Thanks for watching my mama cooking. On the next video of her, I want to see if she'll make a pan of rolls and some chicken and dumplings. So be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see you on the next one.